Oh, man. What's up, guys? Razio here. It's been a long day, making 2 videos in the same day and releasing them in the same day. And this video is what I would change about Final Fantasy XIV's Endgame. I bitch about it a lot on stream, and I've mentioned some stuff in some previous videos, so let's offer some solutions.
I am Razio.
Okay, guys, so Final Fantasy XIV Endgame. I've made a big stink about how the Endgame burned me out and how there has been a lot of things that I feel like they could change to make it for the better. And the nice thing is about Final Fantasy XIV is Square Enix literally has the foundation there already to make, in my opinion, their Endgame so much better and so much more engaging and have a lot more to do for players and less of huge jumps between difficulties of content. Now again, I'm going to preface this, okay? This is an opinion. They're my thoughts coming out at you over the internet tubes, all right? So if you don't like my opinion or you disagree, that's fine. You're welcome to disagree. Just tell me you disagree and why you disagree in the comment. If you liked it, or I'm sure you could expand on it. Again, I think of these ideas while I'm trying to fall asleep, or while I'm in the shower, taking a shower. Yeah, that's it. And yeah, so this is what how I think Final Fantasy XIV can improve their endgame model. Now, first, I'm going to preface that I think how their loot system works is already fine. I have no real huge issues with how loot works. You know, getting tomes and tokens and things to get better gear, and as RNG protection if you have bad RNG and you're a masochist like I was for so long, and you play most of the endgame content in the party finder and not in a static group. I understand. So, but to give you more of an idea of what I'm talking about, let's go to my fucking science lab, where Little Raz himself designed it. Let's move on over there. It's called Microsoft Paint. As you can see, I put this together, and I worked real hard on it. I apologize for the crudity of this model. Anyway, as you can see here, this is the current difficulty scale. And nicely, how you know Square is on the right track here, is this is pretty much how the gear scale goes too, in terms of the item level of the gear you get from the content. As you can see here, at one end of the difficulty scale, we have easy shit. And then over here, I can feel my soul trying to rip itself from my own body in difficulty, okay? And so how it's currently set up, as you see here, ND and NT, normal trials, normal dungeons, respectively, right there. The 24-man raid, now 24-man raids, we're going to get into this, are highly underutilized in my opinion. They have some of the best storylines of any Final Fantasy content that there is. I mean, Return to Ivalice was a fucking masterpiece. I have videos about that. I haven't really played too much of the current expansions because, as you notice, I'm kind of bouncing between games. And I don't know shit about Nier Automata, so I don't really have an attachment to it. But they're always good. They're always good. The 24-mans are great. Then you have normal 8-man raids. That's probably the next step up from the 24-mans. And then Extreme Trials, right here. Then you have quite a large jump from Extreme Trials to Savage Raid. Now, this Savage Raid here, the reason why I placed it so far up here on the difficulty scale is because it's, it can go either direction. Like, some bosses are easy, some bosses are hard. I mean, in general, it gets harder as you go, but there have been cases that's not a hard and true, always constant. Sometimes there have been bosses, like the second or third boss is retardedly easy, and then, but it's usually pretty true that the last boss of a raid tier is pretty fucking hard. But then all the way down at the end, you have ultimate raids, which only offer a cosmetic reward. A very, very, very small percentage of the player base actually does these, and they're way over here. They take so much time to clear, and it's literally, I watch streamers do it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours for days and days and days in a row to finally get these down for their unique weapon effect look. Okay, so I'm putting them on there though because I caught a lot of shit in my other Final Fantasy video about not including ultimate raids. Well, there it is, bitches. It's right on the screen. Now, what I would do, what I think, there are 2 things that Square has right in front of them that they could utilize. And I'm going to show you what I think they are and where to put them on this scale. So, first and foremost, I see a lot of versions, difficulty scaling of raids. You have normal trials, extreme trials, normal raids, savage raids. But the other things, dungeons and the 24-man raid don't have this. And I think that's what we need. First and foremost, Square needs meaningful 4-man content. And not just, you know, treasure hunting and shit like that. Like actual character progression. Jesus, man. What he gets for eating his own hair. Anyway, we're going to get a run on this. Okay, so normal dungeons. I think we need a challenge mode, not necessarily a savage mode, because savage implies a lot more than normal, as we see in the savage to normal mode raids. I would call it a challenge dungeon or an extreme version of the dungeon, right? And I think a good place to put that would be in this area right here, in difficulty, right? So let me get my amazing paint skills here. Okay, we'll leave this black and we'll do challenge or EX 4-man content. Now what would drop from this? Well, I would say gear level, because you know how you get the gear level in extreme, you get a weapon in the extreme mode that's 5 item levels higher than the normal mode raids. I would put 5 item levels higher than normal mode raids. Gear in here that you could find. You can also get cosmetic effects. So it's the gear that would normally drop. It's not the raid gear pieces. It's the gear that would normally drop from that dungeon, but it's item level boosted. So some best in slots may come from this for quite some time. And make it hard. Whether that means, again, I don't have all the details worked out, but whether that means, you know, it's timed run or additional mechanics for some bosses, or maybe an extra boss somewhere, or tougher trash, you know, more health pool, they do more damage, all kinds of things you could do to make a 4-man challenging content for 4 people to do, and have it for multiple dungeons that are current, right? The multiple current dungeons. And I'd even be okay with if only the current dungeons, like there's usually only 2 or 3 at a time in an extreme roulette, can be savage or extreme during a time period. And then once they move out and they're no longer relevant, whether or not you can still do them in that mode, I guess I'd be up to Square. But that's where I'd put that there. Then I would add one more thing. We need a piece of content right here. So, a little harder than the 8-man Savage raids. And they take more time to beat because they have trash. But they're nowhere near as hard as the Ultimate raids. And what we're talking about here is 24-man Savage. So, a little bit harder bosses. Now, obviously, they're not going to be quite as hard and nearly as hard as Ultimate because, you know, and if you wipe on the 3rd boss in, you don't go back to the beginning. It's how a World of Warcraft raid essentially progresses, where you spend time with a boss, once it's dead, you move on to the next, clear the trash, move on to the next. I think it would give so much more meaning to the 24-man raids if they were utilized better. Because right now, most 24-man raids, other than for alternate jobs, the gear that comes out is, for a lot of players, irrelevant the second it comes out, especially because of crafting gear being a thing, which I don't want them to remove. And, you know, it largely becomes a glamour hunt, and that's it. Usually for me, with the exception of Return to Evilise, because I love the raid so much, most 24-mans, after I saw the story and did it once, I never touched them again. Because in my opinion, there were more effective ways of getting alt job gear and funner ways of getting alt job gear. I think if they had a 24-man Savage raid, and I'd even be okay if you did the Savage 24, because I know it's hard to get 3 different alliances of groups of 8, but I think Final Fantasy XIV's community could pull it off. They're a great community. I think you could even bring it down to 16, right? 2 Alliance A and Alliance B. But I think sticking at 24 might be the best. A 24-man raid Savage with, again, more glam and prestige to chase for killing the last boss, and just better gear, better versions of, even better than, slightly better than Savage of that tier gear, because it's much harder to organize. You should be rewarded better. And but it's this gear, maybe it looks a little bit better, or it's dyeable, you know, from the 24-man raid. Anyway, guys, that's what I think Final Fantasy XIV needs. Now, out of all of these, the thing it needs the most out of the 2 I suggested is it needs meaningful 4-man content, because I just don't feel it is right now. What are your thoughts and your opinions? Put them down in the comments below. It's completely okay if you disagree with me, and you can downvote all you want, and no one fucking cares. Okay? No one gives you shit. You're on the internet. Who cares? We're all on the internet just wasting time. But anyway, guys, this has been Raziel. Here's my Twitch shit on the screen now. It's going to be over there, over there, over there. Who knows? It all happens in post. We'll do it in post. But thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Don't forget now, my Discord is available to all people who watch my YouTube channel. It's in my About section and also in the description of all my videos now. In addition, I will be doing a giveaway in a couple weeks on my stream. I usually stream on Thursdays. I will be adding more days in the future after my own real life work schedule changes. But I'm be giving away a Logitech G600 mouse in the coming weeks. So if you're interested, come hang out. You know, you don't have to sub, you don't have to follow. You can just be there and just lurk and get points to be able to participate in the raffle. Anyway, guys, this has been Raziel, and as always, my friends, keep it real.